From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and Akashvani, this is Stumped.
Hello, I'm Alison Mitchell and welcome to a very special edition of Stumped as I'm in India for the start of the Women's Cricket World Cup. And with me from Bangalore is Charu Sharma for Akashvani, and for the ABC, Brett Sprigg joins us from Sydney. I have to say, being in Guwahati for the opening match felt like an incredibly special occasion. For a start, I loved Guwahati, very green, the stadium, which is a brilliant facility set against the backdrop of a hilly forest reserve, and an India win, Charu, in front of a record crowd for a group stage in a Women's World Cup as well. And I have to say that 22,843 were in fine voice as well, helped perhaps by Zubin Garg, an icon of Assam, famous musician who died. Tributes were paid to him at that opening match as well, which was also very moving. But they won. India won the opening match. That must have been some relief as well after they had a bit of a wobble. But how has it all gone down? Where you are?
I think the BCCI has done very well to take the World Cup to, and I mean no disrespect to these centres, but centres which don't host too many international matches. I think Guwahati is a wonderful example. So too Indore. I think DY Patil doesn't host too many international matches. So the choice of venues has been quite appropriate for women's cricket. Again, I mean no disrespect, because they're likely to see a fair amount of crowds all the way through. And the buzz inside the stadium in terms of spectators does translate onto television quite easily as well. So I do think that in terms of viewership on television and other devices, bigger crowds at the stadium will also mean a lot. By the way, you're in India at a very auspicious time, the whole 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks. So it's not only the season of festivities, but also that first win, which was rather important, because I suppose the average Indian fan will say, oh, very well begun. An auspicious start to that very elusive trophy that they've never won.
Brett, what did you make to the curtain raiser match?
I like that two things happened. One is that Smriti Mandana missed out on the runs, and India could prove that they do have a range of players that can step up, and one of those is Deepti Sharma with bat and ball. I mean, I think she'll be such a key part of any success they may have during this World Cup and when they come to Australia later in the summer as well for all formats. The fact she played a steadying hand at such a crucial time when they had lost 4 for 4 at one stage, it only sort of played into the excitement of the occasion, I suppose. But then she also took 3 wickets to go with her half century, and she was player of the match. So disappointing there was rain, I suppose. Can't help that. But a good start for the host nation or co-host nation and for the event overall.
Charu, that batting innings, well, it felt a bit nervy at the start, and that almost played out, with that calamitous over when India lost 3 wickets in 1 over and 4 wickets for 4 runs in the space of just 11 balls. But yeah, Amanjeet and Deepti Sharma giving India a defendable total. But do you think some nerves for Sri Lanka as well? Because they let Amanjot off the hook, 4 times?
Yeah, well, they'll be ruining that, won't they? Because I had India on the match and allowed them to recover with that wonderful stand between Deepti and Amanjot, who, by the way, is the new big star for India, coming a little late but doing extremely well. And then, of course, once they got past the 250 mark, it would have taken something very special from Sri Lanka. It would have taken perhaps the Chambariyata Patil century. Once they got her for under 50, I think it was only a matter of time before they continued breaking through. And Deepti, of course, is a huge star, and she's, like so many other Indian players, very shy, reticent off the field, but such a tiger when she's on the field. I mean, she's 100% focused in the very competitive cricketer. But you meet her off the field and, you can't get 2 words out of her. I mean, she's very sweet and shy and reluctant. And many other such cricketers, with the exception perhaps of Jemimah, who's like kind of bubbly all the time. But I think the squad sort of come together really well. And I have to quickly add that I do think that this win has drawn more attention on the Indian team as well as the World Cup because of being a bit of a roller coaster. As Spriggy said, allow me to repeat, that if Mandana had done the usual and gotten a big 70, 80 or 100 and India had won easily, I think people would have said, yeah, well, it was a win and so what? But the fact that the Indian team was in danger a couple of times just drew more attention to the whole World Cup, and certainly the Indian team as well, which is, in a sense, good for the rest of the World Cup to follow.
India's next match, of course, is against Pakistan on the 5th of October. So stand by to hear what the BCCI Secretary Devajit Saikia says about that. Sri Lanka also move on to Colombo to play Australia on the 4th. And speaking of the defending champions then, the Aussies started their bid for an 8th World Cup with a win over New Zealand. Spriggy, was playing on an enormous screen in the forecourt of Mumbai Airport when we touched down late in the night, which was very cool to see. But the Aussies found themselves in a spot of bother as well, didn't they? 128 for 5, and it took a lower order 100 from Ash Gardner to get them up to that 326. I mean, that sounded like a sparkling knock, and the Aussies always get themselves out of trouble somehow, it seems.
Yeah, good to see Ash Gardner get runs. I mean, it's incredible because she's been an established star for quite a while. She's twice now been named Australia's best cricketer, the Belinda Clark Award winner, and yet somehow she gets overshadowed day to day by the exploits of Annabelle Sutherland, who is the reigning Belinda Clark medalist, by the way, and she played a great game, Sutherland, with the ball. So it's strange because in some ways Gardner's unheralded at times because she's a steady hand in that lower middle order and only gets an opportunity to craft a big innings when Australia has lost early wickets, as was the case here. Like I doubt there's been many times in her career that she's come to the wicket in the 19th over of a 50-over match, as she did in this game. But I guess overall, part of Australia's professionalism, Ali, is that they're not deterred by scenarios where it looks like the game is going against them. And if you're beating Australia, generally it's not for very long because they can adapt and find the extra gear and really get themselves back into any contest. But I think I'm most curious about how that bowling attack works in the immediate term with this time Megan Shute not preferred. They went with Kim Garth, Darcy Brown and Annabelle Sutherland as the quicks. Clearly spin will be a focus in India. Obviously Ash Gardner does her role there as well. She didn't bowl so well in this game or have the best figures, but Alana King bowled well as well. So next up, off to Sri Lanka, Colombo, and face the hosts there. Australia is 21-0 against Sri Lanka in the white ball formats. So Chimayata Padu's team will be up against it again.
Yeah, strong start certainly for two of the big favourites for this tournament in India and Australia. Now, India and Pakistan meet for their round-robin match of this Women's World Cup on the 5th of October in Colombo. Pakistan are based in Sri Lanka for the entirety of the World Cup due to the political relations between India and Pakistan. Back in April, the two nations engaged in a 4-day military conflict following a deadly militant attack on tourists in Kashmir. Even before that conflict, the cricket teams would only play each other in multinational tournaments and at neutral venues. The recent Men's Asia Cup became overshadowed by controversies around the two teams not shaking hands and the non-awarding of the trophy to India. So in what atmosphere will the India-Pakistan Women's World Cup match take place? Well, the head of the India Cricket Board and the most powerful man in Indian cricket since taking over from Jay Shah is the BCCI Secretary, Devajit Saikia. He's a former Assam cricketer, so his office is based in Guwahati. And I went back to the ground after the opening game to meet with him. He answered questions on a range of topics and began by telling me that he's got high hopes for what India's women might achieve in this ongoing World Cup.
India has been playing finals in various ICC trophies in the senior level, and in the under-19 level we have won 2 ICC trophies this year as well as 2 years ago. In Malaysia, I went and watched the final match. India defeated South Africa, and our team is doing very good in the women's section also, like the boys. So I hope in the senior level, this year's ICC World Cup, India will be able to break the jinx by clinching the trophy, by winning the trophy in India itself.
Well, India's next match is on Sunday against Pakistan. Given what's happened at the Asia Cup, will there be handshakes between the sides?
I cannot forecast anything, but our relationship with that particular hostile country is same. There is no change in the last 1 week. Rather, it has got worsened as the ICC chairperson, ACC chairperson refused to give the trophy to us till now. So we are a little bit annoyed with that situation. But anyway, India will play the cricket match against Pakistan, our women's team, in Colombo on 5th, and all the cricket protocols will be followed. I can only assure that whatever is there in the MCC regulations on the game of cricket, that will be done. Whether there will be handshake, there will be hugging, I cannot assure you anything right at this moment.
So will there be any directive or advice from the BCCI to the team as regards a handshake?
Our only situation is like this, that we follow the central government's sports policy, which is not involving only cricket. It is encompassing all other disciplines in the game. So whether it is football, whether it is hockey, whether it is athletics, the central government has a standard protocol for or guidelines for the teams to participate in international tournaments where multinationals are involved, and so far as bilateral there is a different policy. So we will follow whatever guideline is there, whatever protocol has been set by the central government, we will follow that, nothing beyond and nothing less.
Does not shaking hands or refusal to shake hands contravene the spirit of cricket in any way, in your view?
That may be your perception, not our perception.
What would you say to cricket fans, and indeed many from here in India, who have been on social media saying that they want to watch sports as escapism almost, to have it free from politics?
India is a democratic country, everybody has their own right to express their opinion, but as a BCCI, as the government of India, whatever policy they have formulated, BCCI will go by that. In the policies set by the central government, there is no mention of shaking hand or meeting them after the match or after a match party. These are not part of the policy. Neither policy is set by the central government nor any protocols of the BCCI regarding our players and our team officials. So we have to do whatever is within the ground while playing a tournament or playing a match, not beyond that.
As regards the Asia Cup, I understand the upset from BCCI point of view about currently not being in possession of the trophy. Does Mr Naqvi have a right to be upset at the BCCI's refusal to accept the trophy from him as ACC chair president?
When a particular country is having a war with another country, do you expect one of the country will receive a trophy from the person who is leading the war against his own country? I don't think that is advisable, that is supportive, or that has any rationale to up to any standard in doing that. So we refuse to accept the trophy from his hand because he is the interior minister of Pakistan. Which country is waging war against India?
Would it therefore have made a difference if the president of the Asian Cricket Council, who's also the chair of the PCB, was not also a government minister?
Had it been, I cannot reply to you on hypothetical situations. As of now, he is the ACC chairperson and also he is the chairman of Asian Cricket Council. So he is having two different roles. One role is that he will lead a war against India. That is number one, and on the other hand, he is promoting cricket and holding a very responsible post, not only in Asian Cricket Council, he is also one of the board directors of ICC. So we don't expect a person who is having war against India or leading a war against India and he wants to hand over a trophy to us. In our normal understanding, in our normal situation, it is not acceptable to us, and therefore we refuse to accept the trophy from his hand. He could have very easily given it to the other persons who were present on the dais to hand over the trophy and totally diffuse the situation. Having the trophy or not having the trophy doesn't make any difference, strictly speaking, because on the record books as well as on the scorecards, India is the champion. All the people who are watching the match in the stadium or through live telecast over the televisions or in the digital platform, everybody knows that who won the match, and we won all the 3 matches against Pakistan, and number 2, we won all the 7 matches of Asia Cup. So irrespective whether that trophy is with us or not, that will not dilute our position in the cricketing spectrum.
After the Asia Cup, the Pakistan captain Salman Agha said that by not shaking hands, India were being disrespectful to cricket. What do you say to that?
I do not want to make any comments on the comments made by some Pakistani players. That is not my job. That doesn't come within my scope of work, and I am not a government person so far as this situation is concerned. Therefore, I would like to refrain from making any comments on their comments.
Well, let's come back to the women's game for the moment. And the WPL, the Women's Premier League, has been a real game changer in this country. On the men's side, we don't see any of the men featuring in other franchise tournaments, but the women currently are allowed. Is that something that, as the women's game, as the WPL gets more lucrative and evolves, could that change?
WPL is the brainchild of present ICC chair and who was at that point of time the secretary of BCCI, Mr. Jaisa. Nobody thought of this idea that by mirroring IPL, another tournament in women's will be floated or will be introduced in India. When he disclosed that idea, he had lot of difficulties in convincing our board members also that it should be done. But he was very focused and very convinced that WPL is the call of the time to improve the game of cricket in so far as women is concerned, as well as to give exposure as well as expansion of the game. That was the right thing, and Jaisa was very successful in implementing his thought into actual happening by introducing WPL in 2022-23. That has opened vistas for all the young girls to take the game very seriously. It inspired, it encouraged the young cricketers from the girls to come to the game because they see lot of opportunities. Number one, there is lot of exposure for them. There is lot of exposure to play with better players, lot of exposures to get them proper training, and most importantly, they come into the limelight, showcase their talent and get selected for the Indian teams also. Apart from that, there is financial stability and financial security which the girls are getting. As a result, not only the girls, the guardians or the parents of the young girls also are encouraging their girl to take their daughters to the cricket practice areas now. In all the coaching centers, earlier you don't see or you hardly see 1 or 2 girls playing. But now all the cricket centers all across the country, there are a lot of girl trainees who are taking the game very seriously, and I hope that idea conceived by Jaisa, implemented by him during his tenure, has boomerang, has gave lot of fillip for development of women's cricket in India. Apart from that, our team is also doing very good after the WPL was introduced, and it has taken the game to every nook and corner of the country. So now you don't find girls only from the metropolitan cities. You can find girls from very remote areas. If you take example, one girl is Uma Chetri from Assam. She belongs not only to a Mofusil town, very interior to a Mofusil town also. Her home residence is not having a proper road to the next nearest city also, or the place also. So girls from those remote areas are also coming and taking the game seriously and making their mark at the international scenario. So that is a very positive thing, and I am sure it will go higher and higher in the coming times.
Well, that was all we've got time for this Stumped special. I'm loving being in India at the moment, and we've got another few more days yet to come as well. So we'll have more in the show next week from here as well. So for now, my thanks to Brett Sprigg and to Charis Sharma and to all of you for listening, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.